Ollie, it's always obviously a little bit painful to lose at this stage of a competition. I wonder what you made of it tonight.
Well, tight game. I think they played a very good first half. I thought they made us have to defend really well, and we did. We kept defending well. They didn't create too many chances. They had a shot to hit the post, but obviously I felt that we're in this game. We just needed a little bit extra, and then very disappointing to concede from the 2 set plays. That's after the first set play, I thought we reacted well. We played well when they went 1-0 up, but created half chances, but not enough to score.
Yeah, of course, because it's not the first one as well against City at home. So, we disappointed with the result, obviously, with the 2 goals on set piece. Then after, can go both ways. Now we lost today, and it's not the first one. Like I said, it's very annoying, to lose, and because there's always a trophy behind all this, and you have to do better. You have to do better for sure.
Yeah, four consecutive semi-finals. Is there just that one piece missing? It must be so frustrating.
Exactly, and it's details. Details make the difference all the time, and when it's big games like this, details, set piece, and you lost on this. You have to learn. You have to learn because it's not the first time. You have to learn. You have to get through this as well, and then after this, it's big games coming up. So after tonight, tomorrow, we go again.
Yeah, there didn't seem much in it at all at half time. It was a very enjoyable game to watch. But was it just that first goal always going to be so important?
Yeah, you've got to open up then, and we would have liked to have defended that first free kick better. That's a poor goal to give away, I have to say. It's not one to analyse on telly here, but very, very disappointing.
Yeah, it's important that this doesn't have any impact on the season or derail anything, because there's so many big games coming up every few days in different competitions.
Exactly. So today we know we lost, then there's no time to be disappointed for a week, because we know where we are. We're in good position now, and it's difficult. It's gonna be difficult, and we learn from those games. It's gonna hopefully help us to get through, to get better, and to have a positive result the next games.
Was it particularly difficult in the second half to create sort of clear-cut opportunity? Had quite a lot of possession, but difficult to create clear-cut chances.
Yeah, when you give them a chance to hang on to something, of course it's harder. They defend well. They're well structured. Still, I felt we put some pressure on them, but created half chances, but not enough to say that we should have scored on that one or should have scored on that one. We had some moments, but just not enough.
Every 3 days, every 4 days games, how difficult is it?
That's what we play. We don't want to football, and we play for Marinaya is not easy. It will never be easy, but it makes the victory richer, more beautiful when you get through tough time and you get through this. So it's better, but it's beautiful. You get like emotion, and that's all we want. That's what the fan wants. That's what the team wants. Everyone wants this. So the club is built on winning and on big things. So that's all we want to get, the big stuff.
Exactly. It's allowed for an hour or so to be very disappointed before you go to bed. Wake up tomorrow morning with something to look forward to. You've got to be positive again, because, as you say, FA Cup and big league games.
Well, welcome along to the Gary Neville podcast, where Gary and I are at Old Trafford, having just seen Manchester United lose to Manchester City in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. What about the result, Gary? Fair enough?
I think so. I think that City just, over the 90 minutes, they looked like they're back to the best, near to the best. If you'd have said to me before the game at Stamford Bridge on Sunday who would be the favourite for this game, I'd have said Manchester United. But then, having watched City deliver that first half an hour and then see the game out the way in which they did in the second half, it just made it a lot more interesting tonight, in the sense that you just wondered whether that was City back to the best. And you just saw the way they started the game, the passing, the rhythm in the passing was back. And Pep Guardiola, as you said it, I think during commentary, he looked like he had his spark back on the touchline. And I said a few weeks ago, watching City, it's almost like the players have become bored of playing really well and achieving the standards that they achieved previously. But I'd imagine since Sunday, Pep Guardiola has said to them, do you not enjoy playing football more like that than you have been doing in the last few weeks? Because they were just absolutely sensational against Chelsea for 25 minutes. They cut them open. The passing's so precise, sharp, quick. You can't live with it. You just cannot get anywhere near it. And there were periods in that first half where City were brilliant. And United played well in the game. They were managing it. They were living with it. It's difficult to live with. And City came close, hit the post. But United looked dangerous through Pogba, Martial and Rashford and couldn't get the goal. But overall, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his... we've not seen his post-match interview yet, or any Manchester United player will come out and say we really deserve to win that game tonight. I think they'll say they played against a really good side, and they'll be disappointed with the set-piece goal that really did obviously swing the game. The first goal was going to be critical, and just those 2 or 3 players at the front of that line didn't go back in. And when you've got a wide free kick, once it goes past the first man and second man, it goes towards the back post, you are in the lap of the gods, because the men at the back post that are defending can't see it, particularly when it comes low. And that's why you have that near post block on a corner. It's why you have a near post block on a wide free kick. And I think it was Rashford, Pogba just didn't go back in, and they allowed that ball just to swing across the goal, and it's a nightmare then. It left Maguire at the back post and knew there's no chance, and John Stones just put it into the net. And once that moment happened, you just thought, difficult. Very difficult, because you knew City then would just maybe cut away and get the second, and they did.
This upturn for Manchester City has come at a time where in the build-up to every game we seem to read that they're in crisis. They actually lost one game, of course, because of the COVID issues. From what we saw at the end with the comradeship and everybody celebrating, do you think they've actually been brought together during this period of adversity? It's actually had a galvanising effect.
I think that there's an element of some things lifted them pre-Chelsea. Maybe it's the reaction to the fact they cancelled the game at Everton. But they were a different level. And I have to say that sometimes that can happen. You don't know what's going to spark a season. Sometimes it can be that when you're at your lowest moment and you think that players are out and you think it's going to be the most difficult, people just stand up. You know, on Sunday it was Kevin De Bruyne playing almost as a false 9 centre forward, and you think to yourself, how's this going to go? I saw the game initially and saw Sterling on the right and Foden on the left and thought, I know Raheem doesn't like playing on the right, and Foden, more often than not, if he's playing in a front three, plays on that right-hand side. He doesn't play on the left. But it just seemed to click all of a sudden. Things that seemed to happen, the passing seemed to come, the rhythm. Gundogan in midfield started to drive them forward. And out of what would be adversity, with obviously the COVID test, the council, people potentially criticising them for, including myself, I was doubtful as to why they played 2 they just clicked. And Pep Guardiola, I think, to be fair, looks like he's got a spark in his eyes because he sees his team play football. You got so used to Manchester City playing a style of football that was an incredibly high level for 2 seasons. Scored hundreds of goals. The passes were in the thousands, it felt like, every single match. They used to just completely mesmerise other teams, where to the point whereby they felt like they had no chance whatsoever. And all of a sudden, in the last 12 months, it's just not been like that. And it's been scrappy. And the football, I have to say, culminated in here a few weeks ago, where I said that those players looked really demotivated. Their body language was poor. There's no rhythm in the passing. There's no excitement in the game. There's no feeling. And all of a sudden, it returned at Stamford Bridge. And they're a dangerous proposition. And Liverpool dropped points on Monday night. And obviously, from a Manchester United point of view, we had a little bit of a smile. But Manchester City players, having played like they did at Chelsea on Sunday, they'll have been the ones in the background that have been thinking, that was a good 3 points drop for us, because we know we can win this title. We know we can beat that Liverpool team. And Liverpool are making mistakes, and they needed to make mistakes to allow City back in. But they're back in. They are back in, because if they're playing like that, they're a dangerous proposition. You said they've got 3 games at home now, and they'll be the ones, I think, most that will cause Liverpool problems. I mean, Manchester United immediately are in their eye line, but City are there just lurking, and if they're playing like that, they're going to be really dangerous.
And they're playing like that without an Aguero, without a Jesus. Can you see this so-called false nine. We saw Kevin De Bruyne occupy the role. We saw Riyad Mahrez occupy the role in the semi-final. Can you see that being a long-term thing for them?
Well, it could be, because he's done it before, Pep Guardiola, obviously at different clubs. It is unnerving as a centre-back when you're playing for the opposition and you don't have anybody to mark. It is. I've been there in Europe, playing at centre-back in the early days, as sort of playing in youth tournaments where teams don't play with conventional centre-forwards. And you think, where's my man? And, and I think Harry Maguire and Lindelof had a bit of that in the first half tonight, working out what was going on. It was Mahrez that was nearest to him at times, then it was De Bruyne, then it was no one. And centre-backs don't necessarily like that. They like to know where the men are. They like sort of what would be the rhythm in the game of knowing that person's going to do the same things. Manchester City don't do that. They cause a problem for you. And you might say that the last week, I wouldn't say stumbled across a system, because Pep Guardiola's played false nines before, but the idea of not maybe having Aguero and Jesus on the pitch, I'm sure they will at times, but maybe the ability to go and play in games, particularly against Chelsea, Manchester United away from home, two of the biggest games you can play without that centre forward, with Sterling and Foden wide, really wide, and then having the likes of Mahrez or a Bernardo Silva or a De Bruyne, just making those little positions in the sort of pockets in behind midfield players. And they've been brilliant. The last two matches, I have to say, they've been really, really good. They're top performances, those. And I've been critical of them a month ago, and rightly so. We should be critical of Manchester City, because when a team reaches a standard that's there and they drop below it so much, you have to say, what's happened? Your mentality's not right. You've dropped off. You take your foot off the gas. Get it back. You're a football player. You're an athlete. You're an elite athlete. Go and get back to training at that level, performing at that level. And I played under a manager for 20 years, and all he ever asked of us was to achieve our standard. Don't drop your standard. Your work ethic, your performance, your ability, don't drop it. Always make sure you're there at that standard. And that's why he got there every single year. And Pep Guardiola has demanded that from his teams at Barcelona, at Bayern Munich and at Manchester City. And they've dropped below the standard. So it's right that we criticise them. We must do, because they need to know that that's the standard there. And I imagine after Sunday, that Chelsea half an hour, he said, that's it. Watch that back. All of you, watch that back and decide whether you want to play like that or whether you want to play like you have been doing in the last couple of months, where at times it's been turgid. It's not been City. It's been slow. It's been a bit boring. It's been a bit, I won't say effortless, but just hasn't felt right when you think of the standards they've reached. So well done to them for getting it back at a right moment in the season, because if they'd have been beaten at Stamford Bridge and beaten here tonight, we'd have been talking about a completely different story. They haven't. They've delivered in two big matches.
The final itself, unusually, is a long time away, more than 3 months away. Yeah. So there's a lot to happen between now and then, a transfer window, form, fitness, whatever goes on in the Premier League. But at this stage, would you call a Manchester City Spurs game a 50-50 call?
No, I would have done maybe a few weeks ago when Tottenham were in that fantastic run and Harry Kane was absolutely outstanding with Son and Bergwijn and Højbjerg and Sissoko. And they're still doing well, don't get me wrong, but City were nowhere near this. When you see City like this, you have to make City favourites. You have to make City favourites. City will be favourites against any team in the Premier League playing like this, and maybe Liverpool aside, where you would then say it's 50-50. But no, you'd have to say that, Jose Mourinho, even Tottenham's players, no one in the country, if City are at this level, will think that Tottenham are 50-50. I would think it's more 70-30. But it's a final, and it's compelling, Jose against Pep. And it was going to be compelling if it was Ole against Jose as well, Manchester United against, obviously, Jose Mourinho was the manager here. So either way, it was going to be a compelling final, and I think it will be that way. But no, I'd definitely make City favourites, just off seeing them in the last 48 hours, 72 hours twice.
So let's talk United. A fourth semi-final defeat under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. How much of a problem is that becoming?
I said before the game tonight, I felt there was more expectation on this game for me as a United fan than there were maybe a week on Sunday against Liverpool at Anfield. Because no one this season expected Manchester United to challenge for the league title. But I think there was a feeling that you win a trophy. Ole at the end of this season will have had 2.5 years, and I think to go 2.5 years without a trophy, it will start to bring a pressure, because it just helps you on your way. Jurgen Klopp needed that trophy, eventually got the Champions League. Pep Guardiola won the League Cup. Jose Mourinho at various clubs has won the League Cup just to get themselves going. And it happened at United, I think, in 2006, having not won a trophy for 2 or 3 years, that we won a League Cup. So he needed something, and he was so close to a final, obviously, with this game tonight, and in good form. So I think it does pose a problem. I wouldn't say, sat here as a Manchester United fan, it causes me a great problem that in any way, shape or form I'm looking at the manager's job at any point. But it will bring pressure down the line. Because if they go to Anfield and lose, people will then say, glass half empty again. And it can turn like that. And the reason that Ole will not be resting on his laurels is because when you're in a job that presents the problem that he had 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, where people were questioning whether he would, make it through to the end of the season, when it gets good, like it has done in this last few days, where they're joint top of the league and they've got a game in hand now on Liverpool, and they're in a semi-final, and people think, oh, everything's fantastic, you don't get that carried away the other way either. So I think it's a time for Manchester United to knuckle down. They've not been able to get over the line, not be too hard on themselves, because I think they've played against a brilliant team here tonight. They've turned up against City. What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will have been hoping is that Manchester City went back, that on Sunday was just a little bit of a one-off. It wasn't. They were at it again. And he'll know how good a team City has. I don't think he'll be too resigned tonight. He'll be massively disappointed. He'll have wanted to take them that extra step. He's not been able to do it. But I didn't think Manchester United played badly. I thought they belonged in the game. And it could have gone the other way. Martial at the back post with a header with Zinchenko. Harry Maguire's one just went over the head with Stones. Little bits of luck that just go one way or the other. Diaz just clears a couple that maybe at the other end didn't get cleared. Wan-Bissaka's header to Fernandinho that ends up in the back of the net, and the one that basically ends up scoring the first goal from where the defenders don't. They're just details that decide games, and the details went Manchester City's way tonight, and you can't argue with that because of the way they played. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to retain, I think, a level of, he will, I'm sure, look at this game tonight and think of it as being, it's not terminal in any way, shape or form. It'll be a massive disappointment, but he'll want quick recovery. FA Cup, Burnley, Anfield. He'll want big performances in the next couple of weeks.
Well, as they look to get the show back on the road at Turf Moor in the Premier League, we'll be there on Sky Sports. So join us for that. And thanks for joining us on the Gary Neville podcast.
Thank you.